Hey guys, good afternoon. This is James from Butler Farms, and just wanted to do a little quick video here. I told you earlier that I use a lot of homemade compost here in the gardens and in my raised beds and in my pots and things like that. And I was just going to give you a quick look here. This is one of my compost piles. It is not in the best shape. I did turn it over so that you can see kind of what I get out from underneath it when I am adding it into my soil, adding it into the garden, adding it into the potting soil that I make for my pots and for my raised beds. But when we built this house, they had to take down several trees to get the power lines in here, and you can see right there, most of it's still standing there, and some of it I have cut into firewood and that kind of thing. But when the tree cutters were here, when they were doing that work, I asked the guy, he had a truckload already, he had come from another job when he got here, and he started chipping up our stuff, and I asked him to leave the big stuff for me to cut into firewood and split. But the smaller stuff, as he chipped it, I asked him to dump it, and he was more than happy to, because that's a bunch of chips and everything that he's not having to haul, and he's not having to find a place to put it and try to get rid of it. So I had him to dump it here, and this has been here a couple of years now, and it has rotted down. I keep turning it over and getting the finished compost off the bottom and turning the outside toward the middle, and it's worked well. It's been some really rich compost, and when I came out here a few moments ago to turn that over to kind of let you see what we're dealing with on the inside, it's not finished yet, but it's getting there. But you could definitely smell the earthy smell of compost. If you're a gardener, it's a great smell to have. Now, once these wood chips that he put out here are completely gone, I will continue this compost pile. Now, one of the things that I often do, what you see here, that is the shells from where we shelled peas. And when we get through shelling them, we come out here and dump them on top of there. We put kitchen scraps out here. I normally put my coffee grounds from the morning out here, simply because when you're mixing your greens and your browns for your compost, the coffee grounds are green, and so I mix them in there and kind of recharge the pile. Now, obviously, it would take tons of coffee grounds to be able to go into a pile this big, but with everything else that we mix in, it all adds up, and it does rot down and make a good compost pile. It's out here in the edge of the woods, kind of out of the way, which makes my wife happy. It gets it out of sight where you can't see it from the house or from the driveway. It has no smell to it other than an earthy kind of smell that, like I said, if you are around gardening much, you know exactly what I'm talking about with that earthy smell, and you know that that's compost that's ready to use. I also wanted to come down and show you, last year we were having some issues with chopping up our leaves and that kind of thing. This, I know it doesn't look like much from where you're standing, but this is one of about 4 leaf piles that we have, and I come and turn it just like I do my compost. It needs to be turned again, obviously, and I let it rot down here, and I keep piling it up higher and higher, and it keeps rotting down. And so these leaves that I get out of the yard in the fall will eventually rot down into leaf mold, and that's a good thing. I have been able to use that leaf mold. I have in the past had enough of it to be able to spread it all over the garden, and to a very thin layer, obviously, but was able to get it into the garden, and you could tell a difference with the plants. I also when I finally use up one of them, there's a lot of good black dirt under it where it's been sitting on the ground and rotting, and it's full of worms, full of life, and I use that as well. I will this ground out here in the woods, I will use it as part of my potting mix. It's real rich. Like I said, I've got 4 or 5 of these piles laying around. This year I'm going to cut them with a lawnmower and chop them up and just go ahead and place them directly in the garden and till them in next year, along with all the vegetation that I showed you that I cut down in the garden, because it's it'll rot down and it'll provide nutrients. Now, one thing that I definitely want to leave in the garden, and I didn't mention it in the fall cleanup video, is where we do plant peas and we do plant other legumes, they are nitrogen fixers. And what that means is that they will take atmospheric nitrogen and store them in the roots. And when the season's over, I mow them down, I leave the roots in the ground, and come spring I'll till those under, and that nitrogen is already in the soil. It's free fertilizer, it's natural fertilizer, and it's definitely what I want in my ground. It jump starts my new plants, and I've always believed in doing that. I will move my peas around so that they're not always planted in the same spot for obvious reasons. I don't want to use up all the, different plants use different nutrients, and I don't want to use it all up in one spot. But at the same time, I want to move those peas around so that every couple of years they're getting a good dose of nitrogen that they fix into the roots. I was going to pull one of the pea plants up when I did the fall cleanup and show you. You can see on the roots they form little nodules on the roots, and that's pure nitrogen. I wasn't able to find one. The garden had gotten so far gone, and the pea plants were so broken down by that point that I really couldn't find one to show you. But it is a free form of fertilizer, and it is it's better than anything that you can buy at the store. I don't know if any of you have priced organic fertilizer lately, like blood meal, for instance. I use blood meal sometimes with my lettuce and leafy greens like that. I sprinkle it around them once they start to come up, and like I showed you in my raised beds where I was planting the lettuce, I will put blood meal on that. But if you've priced organic fertilizer lately, or any fertilizer, even synthetic fertilizer, around here is anywhere between $25 and $30 a bag. Organic's even worse. So everything that I can do here, everything that I can produce on site, is a benefit for not only my wallet, but also for my gardens. Again, it's kind of one of those things, like I was telling you, where I don't spray, I don't use herbicides, and I don't use pesticides, because I want to know what's on my food. I want to know what is and what is not on my, and more importantly, what is not on my food. So I have tried very hard to put inputs into this land that will allow me to get those nutrients that I would normally get from buying fertilizer, but I can produce it here. Now, it's time consuming. This, for instance, this leaf pile, will be its 2nd year, and you can see that even though I've started up on top, you can still see full leaves. It will take a couple of years for it to break down. The compost pile, I use out of it every single year, right up there. I use out of it every single year, and it is getting smaller and smaller, and I'm going to have to obviously add some more browns and greens to it if I'm going to keep it going. But it has provided for me for the last 2 or 3 years, and there's still at least a couple, maybe 3 years left in that compost pile, because it just keeps breaking down those big wood chips as I keep adding more green material to it. So these leaf piles, I use the oldest one first, obviously, and there's never going to be a shortage of that around here. With, as you can see, all these big hardwood trees around here, we're always going to have plenty of leaves. But at the same time, I have to ration them out pretty carefully, because I don't want to use them all up in 1 year, and the next year have a bunch of unfinished things like this. This is one of the newer piles. I've got some more in some different spots that are almost ready, and will provide some good leaf mold that I will spread on the garden in early spring and then till in. So I just wanted to bring you a little quick video to show you what some of the things are that we have going here as far as fertility. I do soil samples usually every 3 years. I send those off to a university here locally, and they send me back what I need. But one thing is, they usually send it back in the form of synthetic fertilizer and synthetic other synthetic additives. And so what I've started asking them to do is break it down in a different way, and they have done that. They do send me the results as far as adding synthetic fertilizers and those kind of things, but they also send me another printout, which all I had to do was ask for it, that shows me organically what I can put on there. So that's been a benefit to me. And I still don't have it exactly right. I could be a lot more precise with synthetic fertilizers and synthetic additives, but at the same time, I don't want that on my garden. And I'm not. If that's what you use, that's fine. I've just made a decision here that I'm not going to spray, I'm not going to use herbicides, and I'm not going to use synthetic fertilizers if I can help it at all. The main thing here that it tells me is how much lime to put on my garden. We have very acidic soil here, heavy clay, and so over time we have to add a good bit of lime to it. So I'll be doing that again this winter. I'll be sending off a soil sample and seeing how much lime I need to put on it this winter, and I will want to put it on this winter simply to let it have time to work down into the soil. It's not something that you want to put on your garden right before you start planting. It won't do any good. It takes time to work down into the soil. It takes time to take effect and to bring that acidity level under control. So a lot going on here as far as keeping the ground in a situation where we can grow. Sometimes I get it right and sometimes I get it wrong. It's always a journey, and it's always something that I look forward to trying to figure out. So between the leaf mold, between the compost, between the lime, and you know, just trying to do the best I can with the ground that I've got, I will continue to try to put as much produce out of that garden as I can. So anyway, I told you I was going to keep this short, and need to get off here to keep my word. So this is James from Butler Farms. I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe to our channel and would tell others about it. Again, we are just simply trying to show for people that are not full-time homesteaders, we're not full-time gardeners, we are a working family of 6. Both of us have full-time jobs, and we want to share what we do here to try to grow some of our own food and eat healthier and eat cheaper. And so I would appreciate it if you would subscribe and tell others about these videos as well, and would give us a thumbs up. And until next time, this is James from Butler Farms, and I will see you soon.